All right, my name's Todd Foresman. I think I've been associated with the pajama factory. I'm going to have to say with most of my life. I got interested in coming here in around 1990. I think that's.
What was happening here?
No, wait. I'm sorry. It would be 2010. I said okay. 1990 because I'm older, and 20 years ago feels like 1980.
Shoot, that wasn't.
So anyway, I believe my mother worked here. I know that I had an aunt that worked here. My mother used to come here and get shoes, but I grew up in the neighborhood, so this factory's just always been a part of the backdrop. I'm not one of the people that came here and ran around when it was an empty building. I didn't come here when it was the factory and they had the dances. And when I decided that I was going to open up a coffee shop, this is where I wanted to be because it's not just my hometown, this is my neighborhood. I literally grew up 4 or 5 blocks from here. And long story short, 6 years ago my father passed. I moved back into the house I grew up in to help take care of my mother. I'm presently still living there. But that's how I ended up. Like, I just wanted to be here, and I looked around at different spots before I really knew a lot about what was going on here. And I talked to, at the time, Barb Andreasen was the building manager, and she was kind of pushing this spot, which I wasn't interested in. It wasn't really where I wanted to be. I wanted to be down the hall where the big venue is, and they were going to build me a spot, and because I love the courthouse, the courtyard.
Right.
Like there's a door that goes directly to the. It's a patio area, and they usually have tables set up, and that's really where I wanted to be originally. There's another spot at the very end of the building that really needs a lot of work right now that I was interested in. I didn't know. So after coming here a few times, talking with Barb, she's like, listen, why don't you think about this place, and then if it comes up, you want to move, eventually we'll just help you move, and we'll go from there. Which sounds like a great idea until you, like, you're running a business and you're in a location, you establish in a place, you really don't want to move. Right. It's not really a good idea once people find you. This isn't really on the beaten path, so once people find you here, you kind of have to stay. And the other thing is this worked out to be a really, really good spot for me. How I ended up in a coffee shop, I was working in a print shop, which I had been in for over 25 years, and I was buying coffee from a coffee store that was right up the street. So the printing industry was changing. The place I was working wasn't, and so I was going into work a lot, not doing what it is that I do. Like, I ran a press, really liked running a press, wasn't running the press much anymore. I was going in and I had to find work to do. I would work in the bindery department, I would work in pre-press, sometimes I would go back into what we called computer land and kind of help the design girls. Not that I was really supposed to be there, but they appreciated my opinion on things. It's nice when design people will listen to pressmen that are having the printing the things. We can give them ideas to make it a little easier to print. Anyway, and then at the same time, the coffee shop, the owner was going through some of his own personal things, and his business was declining. And in the middle of all of that, I have many vices left. I drink coffee. I like good coffee. And a friend of mine suggested roasting my own. So that's what I did. I roasted in a frying pan. First time I ever roasted, I roasted in a popcorn popper, which I still have. And then, being obsessive compulsive, I looked on the internet and studied some different home roasters that people had built, and I built my own. So I literally started this business roasting beans in my backyard on a gas grill that was run by not just the propane was the heat source, but a rotisserie motor to turn the drum. So, I actually built my first roaster and did all of the mundane paperwork and all those things, and started looking for a place which is known as what do they call it, a mortar and
Brick and mortar.
brick and mortar. Thank you. I did spend a full summer setting up a table and a tent and a banner anywhere anyone would let me. I did a lot of music fests. I did some community yard sales. That was the kind of, and anywhere anybody would let. I never really thought I had what it took to run my own business until I was out in the rain, in the snow, in the sleet, in the heat, sick, not feeling well at all, and knowing that I have people that want. Like, I started the business, selling coffee to people. It was all friends and family at the time, but it still needed to be done, and I always did what I needed to do. So eventually I ended up, with some help from a friend, I bought a roaster, put it in my brother's garage, and then I started roasting in that, which I still have. My roaster's a little over 100 years old. I think that's where the magic happens for the most part. The other part of it is that I love what I do, and that goes into the product as well. If you truly love what you do, it shows. In the end of the day, your product is just better that way. So this is really how I ended up here in the pajama factory. Listen, it's an old factory. There's always work going on. There's always things to bitch about if you want. It's a work in progress. So am I. So is my business. Everything is a work in progress. There's no place that I'd rather be, because all of the things about the place, the support, the people, the friends that I've met that started out as customers, the friends that I've met that come to the pajama factory, some tenants, some that just come to be a part of different activities. I have not found this anywhere on the planet other than here. I'm sure it exists, but I have made such great friends and some great connections that there's really no place I'd rather be. It's about the connections, and part of, like, a lot of people have said, why don't you put in a drive-through? Why don't you, I could put in a walk-up window. That's not what I'm about here. It's just about stopping and breathing and being in the day, which is where I'm at. Like, I don't know what tomorrow brings. I don't really care at this point. I'm here to do today. That's really all we got anyway. It's right now. So a lot of things that people suggest, I always listen, but if it's going to change the energy in the room, not going to happen. It's not what we're about here. It's not just about the convenience of making a buck. Money's nice, but it's really just a tool. It's more about, at the end of the day, today's Thursday, Tuesday, I had one of those days where I could feel the magic of the day. Like, I live in a constant state of amazement. Not surprised too much anymore by things, because I recognize that everything's connected. Tuesday was one of those days where it was just, everything I could feel the magic. I don't know how to describe it. It was just an amazing day. From at lunchtime with the group of us that got together, to the people that were in here, diverse crowd, just a little bit of everybody, from college kids to business owners to a couple of elderly women that were sitting on the couch having a friends meeting. It was just one of those days. Those are the days when this is what I'm supposed to be doing. You can't buy that.
No.
It's not about the money.
Do you remember your first customer?
I actually do. In here, I can't say that I remember who my very first customer was, to be exact. I know that the first day that I opened, I wasn't really prepared. I had gotten approved by codes, and so I opened the following day, and really hadn't prepared for that. I just did because I could. One of the first customers was a friend of mine that I've known for a long time. I actually have his dollar on the wall up up by the cash register. And there's some twins that came in that lived around the corner that were going to Penn College. So,
Cool.
like I remember one of them saying, well, if you weren't ready, why did you? I'm like, well, because I've been working on this for at least 3 years. And they said I could. And, you know, here we are.
Sweet.
So, yeah,
Sweet. That's a great story.
yeah.